into your child's pose to start letting yourself get that grounded energy, connecting with your breath. Maybe taking a moment to even wiggle the fingertips forward a little bit more, stretching through the arms, really pressing the palms down onto the mat. And sending the hips back towards the heels, feeling that stretch and lengthening through the spine. Maybe taking a breath there, deep breath in, deep breath out. Deep breath in, deep breath out. Just finding those nice long, full inhales and full exhales. And taking another deep breath in, again, wiggling the fingers maybe a little bit more forward. And on your exhale, starting to walk the hands over towards the right, finding a side body stretch. Maybe that left palm stacks on the right palm. Keeping the hips pressing back towards the heels. And then inhaling yourself back to center, exhaling over towards the left. Maybe that right palm stacks on top of the left palm. Hips pressing back towards the heels, breathing into the side body. And slowly coming back to center, pausing there to sigh the breath out, letting it go. Then inhaling to draw yourself up into a tabletop position. Just stack the body so the knees are underneath of the hips and the hands are underneath of the shoulder points. Finding a little shake of the hips side to side. And then coming to center to find some of those cat-cows. On our inhale, tailbone turns up, gaze peels forward as the belly drops down. Exhale, the chin tucks into the chest, rounding the spine up towards the ceiling. Inhaling, the belly drops, gaze peels forward as the tailbone lifts. Exhaling to tuck and round through the spine. Just finding this at your own pace, however fast or slow it might feel good to your spine and to your body today. Just moving through, noticing how the body feels. If it's tight or achy, you need to hold a posture and stay there for a breath. And coming back to center, finding that neutral spine. You're gonna tuck the toes under, take the hands just a couple inches forward, widening your stance. Nice deep breath in. On your exhale, hips send all the way up and back into your downward dog. Letting the hips come up towards the ceiling, the head relaxing heavy, maybe shaking it out between the biceps. Find a soft bend in the knees, roll the hips up towards the ceiling. Nice deep breath in, deep breath out. Inhale to look up in between the hands. On our exhale, we're going to step or walk to the top of the mat, finding your fold. Inhaling into your halfway lift, finding a flat back, and exhaling to fold right back down. Inhaling for a halfway lift, flat back, and exhale to fold back down, letting the head hang heavy. Maybe you grab opposite elbows, finding a ragdoll. Soft bend into the knees, letting yourself really fold over the thighs here. Maybe shaking the head out, finding that little sway side to side. Releasing the grip of your hands on your inhale, lifting halfway, finding that flat back, and exhaling to fold back down. On our inhale, we root to rise, coming all the way up to stand. Arms sweep up overhead, and then exhaling the hands right down to heart center. Taking a moment to pause there, take a breath, maybe let the eyes close. And even sighing it out. Deep breath in, sweeps the arms back up overhead. On your exhale, hinging from the hips, pouring all the way down and finding your fold. Inhaling for a halfway lift, flat back. Exhale, folding down, planting the hands down. We'll step one foot back and then the other, finding your plank pose, pausing there. And then dropping the knees down, lowering the chest, maybe so you can come parallel to the mat. Send the elbows back rather than forward. And then untucking the toes, letting the hips lower down, the chest lower, and then inhale to peel the nose, the chin, the chest up, baby cobra. Exhale, folding back down. Inhaling, peeling up, nose, chin, and chest lift. Exhale, the hips send back over the heels, finding your child's pose, forehead to the mat. Length through the spine and through the arms. Deep breath in. Deep breath out. Inhale to rock yourself back up. Tabletop position, tucking the toes. Exhale to send the hips up and back, downward dog. Maybe you take a moment to pedal out the feet here, bending one knee and then the other. And coming back to center, coming back to stillness. On our inhale, the right leg lifts to the sky, finding a three-legged dog. And then maybe bending that knee, stacking the right hip over the left, kind of opening up that hip, circling through the ankle or the knee. And lengthening the right leg back up towards the ceiling. And then stepping the right foot back down to meet the left, maybe pedaling out the feet for a moment. And then grounding through that right foot, left leg lifts right up into that three-legged dog. Bending the knee to open up that hip. Maybe it stacks on top of the right, circling through the knee or the ankle. And then lengthening that leg back up towards the ceiling, stepping it back down to meet the right, shaking out the hips. And then inhaling to draw the gaze forward in between the hands. Exhale, step, walk, or hop to the top of your mat, finding your fold. And inhaling right into that halfway lift. Exhaling to fold back down. Inhaling, we root to rise, coming all the way up to stand. Arms sweep up overhead. On your exhale, sinking your seat down, coming into your chair pose. Arms maybe stay up overhead. Remembering to find that slight hinge forward. So rather than being super upright, there is that kind of slight hinge forward, finding that nice long line from the arms all the way down to the hip point. Peeking at the knees, seeing if they're coming over the toes, if you can kind of draw the energy and weight back into the heels. Maybe stick the booty out and kind of tuck the tailbone under, finding that length through the spine. Deep breath in, deep breath out. Use your inhale, sweep the arms up, come up to stand. Exhale, hinge on the hips, pour all the way over the thighs, let that go. Inhale, halfway lift, flat back. Exhale, fold down, hands plant down. Maybe here's where you start to take your blocks, stepping just the left foot back to wiggle your stance out, finding your nice long runner's lunge. Try to stack that right knee over the right ankle. Maybe your hands are on the blocks, maybe they're on the ground. Finding where you want to be. Just get that length here first. The legs kind of spreading apart from each other. And then dropping down on that left knee, untucking the left toes, arms sweep up, finding your low lunge. Hands can be up overhead, or maybe they come down to heart center, releasing the shoulders away from the ears. On your exhale, maybe sinking the hips towards the ground a little bit more. Feel that stretch through that quad. And using your inhale, sweeping arms up overhead. Exhale that left hand towards the right knee, and the right hand sweeps back behind, opening into a twist. Inhaling to sweep back up overhead, unraveling and unwinding. Exhaling, the hands come down, framing that right foot. Maybe you grab your blocks, walking them back with you as you straighten the right leg, finding our half splits pose. Maybe we inhale, lengthen and lift up here. Exhale, pull over the thigh. Let the head hang heavy, breathing into the back of the right leg. Rocking forward, bending back into that right knee, finding that lunge stance. Hands plant down, maybe either onto the mat or your blocks on that low level. We'll tuck the back toes, lifting your left knee, stepping the left foot all the way up to meet the right back into your forward fold. Inhale for your halfway lift, flat back. Exhale, pouring down. Inhale, root to rise, coming all the way up to stand, arms sweep up overhead. And exhale, sinking the hips down into your chair pose. Maybe arms stay overhead, or they can always come out in front or to heart center. Sinking maybe a little deeper into that chair pose. Then testing the balance, so you can come onto the toes, lifting the heels here. Let the heels drop. Inhale, come up to stand, straighten through the legs, arms reach up. Exhale, hinge in the hips, pour over the thighs, find your fold. Inhale, halfway lift, flat back. Exhale, fold down, plant the hands or bring them to your blocks, stepping just the right foot back this time, wiggling out your stance into that long runner's lunge, left knee stacking over the left ankle this time, and then dropping down on that right knee, untucking the right toes, arms maybe sweep all the way up overhead, finding your low lunge. The shoulders relax down the back. The hips sinking towards the mat, feeling that stretch through that other quad. On your exhale, bringing that right in towards your left knee. Left hand sweeps back behind, finding your twist. Breathing there, maybe gazing towards that left hand. Inhaling to come back up to center, unwinding, sweeping overhead. Exhale, hands come down, framing that foot. Again, maybe they come to the blocks as you straighten that left leg, coming into your half splits pose. Inhaling to lengthen through the spine and exhaling to pour over that left leg. Breathing into the back of the left leg. And slowly rocking forward, bending back into that knee, planting the hands down. We'll tuck the back toes, lifting your back knee, and stepping that right foot all the way up to meet the left, finding your forward fold. Inhaling into your halfway lift, and exhaling to fold back down. Inhale for another halfway lift, flat back. Exhale, fold down. One more like that. Inhaling halfway lift, flat back. Exhaling to fold down. Maybe you grab the hands behind the legs, pulling yourself in for a hug, or finding the opposite elbows in your ragdoll again. Releasing whatever grip you might have. Inhaling to slide the fingers up the shins, lifting halfway. Exhaling to fold back down. Inhale, we root to rise, come all the way up to stand, sweeping the arms up overhead. Exhaling, hands down to heart center. Inhale, arms sweep up. Exhale, hips sink down, chair pose, Utkatasana. Maybe hands come to heart center, roll the shoulders away from the ears. Take a breath. Then use your inhale, root to rise, come up to stand. Exhale, pour over the thighs, let that go. Inhale, halfway lift, flat back. Exhale, fold down, plant the hands or bring them to your blocks, stepping the left foot all the way back. Right foot stays forward, stacking that right knee over the right ankle. And then finding yourself nice and lifted here. So instead of sinking down, lifting up, send the energy through that back heel. Right knee stacking over the right ankle. Maybe the arms are even hovering here. Sweep them all the way up, come into that high crescent lunge. Testing the balance a bit here. Take the feet a little wider if you need to, or even shorten the stance. Nice deep breath in. On your exhale, left hand comes towards that right knee. Right hand comes back behind. Same twist, just with a lifted lunge. Breathing into the spinal twist here. Finding that balance. And then inhaling to sweep back up overhead. Arms reach up towards the ceiling. Exhaling, hands come down, framing that foot. Sending the right foot all the way up and back into your three-legged dog. And then stepping that right foot back down to meet the left, shaking the hips side to side. Nice. And then from here, left leg lifts up to the sky, finding your three-legged dog the other way. Left leg lifted up. And then bending the left knee, stepping the left foot all the way up in between the hands. Right foot comes to meet it, forward fold, top of the mat. Inhale into your halfway lift, flat back. Exhale, folding down. Inhale, root to rise, come all the way up to stand, sweeping arms up overhead. Exhaling, hands down to heart center. Pause there. Inhale, sweep up overhead. Exhale, hinge from the hips, pour all the way down. Find your fold, Uttanasana. Inhale, halfway lift, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, fold down, plant the hands, this time stepping just the right foot back. Again, maybe those hands come onto those blocks, lifting yourself up. Find that runner's lunge. Find the length between the legs, left knee stacking over the left ankle, energy shooting through that right heel. Find the balance, maybe let the hands hover and then sweep them all the way up. Find that momentum to lift up into that high crescent lunge. Breathe here, energy still shooting through that heel. Try not to let that knee dip down. Deep breath in, deep breath out. On your next exhale, right hand sweeps over towards that left knee. Left hand comes back behind into your twist. Breathing here. Then use your inhale, sweep back up overhead, unwinding. Exhale, hands come down, framing that foot. Stepping the left foot all the way back and up into your three-legged dog. And then stepping the left foot back down. Wiggling out the hips, shaking through the legs, finding the blocks maybe under the hands on that flat level, or even removing them and bringing the hands back down onto the mat. Knowing the blocks can be there as an extension of the hands, bringing the floor closer to you, or you can always opt not to use them. And coming back to center on your inhale, right leg lifts up to the sky, finding the right leg lifted up in your three-legged dog. Then bending that right knee, stepping the right foot up in between the hands. Left foot meets it to meet in your fold. Inhaling to your halfway lift, flat back. Exhaling to fold back down. Inhaling, root to rise, come all the way up to stand. Sweep the arms up overhead. Exhale, hands come down to heart center. Deep breath in, sweeps the arms up overhead. Exhale, sinks the hips down into your chair pose, Utkatasana. Find that little hinge forward, lengthening through the spine. Maybe the arms are just out in front. Finding the booty sticking out. And then kind of tucking the tailbone under. Finding that little correction in the lower back, in the lumbar spine. And maybe sink the hips just a little lower. And then test the balance. Roll onto the balls of the feet, lifting the heels up. See if you can hold there for 5, 4, 3, 2, on your inhale, lifting up, try to keep the heels lifted. Come all the way onto the tippy toes. And then exhale, heels lower. Rock back and forth on the feet, coming into your mountain pose. Arms just out by the sides, feet planted firmly. The eyes may be closing and just taking a breath here. Maybe even sigh it out, let it go. And start to find this active posture. Press into the soles of the feet. Feel the feet really grounded, actively grasping for the mat beneath you. The legs engage, feeling all of the leg muscles squeeze together and engage, the glutes engaging. Feel the abdomen kind of fire up, squeezing the core. Arms are down by the sides, energy shooting through those fingertips. So even feeling the arms active, like someone's pulling them and stretching them towards the ground. Chin is lifted so it's parallel to the mat. Almost like there's a string at the top of the head and someone's pulling you up from it, lengthening up the spine. And feeling that energy. Noticing your heart rate and your breath, how that's different from the beginning of class. Noticing the temperature of the body. Just how it feels different. Another deep breath in here. Maybe a deep sigh out. You're ready, fluttering the eyes open, sweeping the arms up overhead, looking up in between the hands. And on your exhale, hinging from the hips, pouring all the way down and finding your forward fold. Inhaling for a halfway lift. Exhaling, folding down. Inhaling, another halfway lift. Exhale, folding down, planting the hands, stepping one foot back, and then the other, finding that plank pose. Maybe you stay here, engaging the core. Option always to drop the knees down, still pushing the earth away. Belly button sucking up into the spine. Finding that nice long line of the body, whether the knees are lowered or lifted. Holding here for another 3, 2, and 1. Dropping the knees down wide, hips and back over the heels into your child's pose, letting the forehead come down to the mat. And just reconnecting with the breath again. When you're ready, slowly peeling yourself back up, finding that tabletop position, tucking the toes under and sending the hips all the way up and back into your downward dog. Taking a breath when you land there. I'm really grounding through that left foot. We're going to lift the right leg up towards the ceiling, finding our 3-legged dog. And bending that knee to open up the hip again. Maybe you circle through the ankle or circle through that whole knee. Trying to keep the shoulders square towards the mat. Lifting that leg all the way back up towards the ceiling. And we're going to sweep it through the left side of the body. So where your grounded hand and leg is, we're going to sweep that right leg through that little hole, planting the right foot, kind of letting the left leg twist as you open the left arm. And then planting that left hand back down, sweeping the right leg all the way up and back into that 3-legged dog. And then bending the right knee, sending it towards your right wrist, planting the shin down as you lengthen the left leg long back behind you, coming into your pigeon pose. That left knee is grounded and extended long. Maybe you take your blocks here and you even lift yourself up for a moment. Notice where the spine is here and where this front knee is. If this front knee is really uncomfortable, knowing there are other variations we can take here. But seeing if you can try to bring that right foot up so that shin's as parallel as you can get it to the front of the mat. Knowing that that's very flexible to be fully there. And then maybe even take a block and sneak it underneath of that right hip. So it won't roll all the way over towards the right. We want to keep the hips nice and square to the mat space here. Maybe stay lifted, or if it feels comfortable, you can always come down onto forearms, or even lowering all the way down onto the mat. Just breathing into the body, noticing maybe where you feel this posture activating. You feel it in that outer hip, piriformis, sciatica, into the lower back. Just breathing into the body here. Allowing yourself to soften into your pigeon pose. Deep breath in, deep breath out. Taking a couple more breaths here. If you're lower down, slowly lifting yourself back up, maybe removing any of those props out from under the body. We're going to plant the hands down, tucking your back toes, lifting that left knee and sending the right foot back to meet it. Maybe send it up into that three-legged dog. You can even give it a little shake if you want, like a cat with a piece of tape stuck on its foot. And then stepping that foot down, finding that down dog, and just kind of shaking it out here, pedaling through the feet or whatever alternative movement feels good. We'll meet back in center, grounding through that right foot. The left leg this time lifts up towards the ceiling, finding your three-legged dog, bending that knee to open up the hip. Maybe circle through the ankle or circle through that knee again. And then lengthening the leg back up towards the ceiling. We're going to bend the knee and send that left leg through the right hole that we've created. So through that right hand and foot, letting the right arm lift all the way up. And then planting the right foot down, left leg lifts up and back, three-legged dog. And then bending the left knee, sending it forward towards the left wrist as you plant that shin down, letting the right knee drop and lengthen back behind you. Maybe take a moment to lift yourself up, readjust, take that block underneath of the left hip if you need it. Find yourself lifted or lowered, maybe matching on this side, whatever you did on the other. Whatever feels comfortable. You might notice one side feels different than the other. Taking a few breaths here. And taking just a couple more breaths on this side. And slowly, if you're lowered, lifting yourself back up. Again, maybe taking any of those props out of the way. And this time we're going to send the energy and weight over onto that left hip, sweeping the legs out in front and coming into our seat. We meet with the legs just kind of extended out in front, hands behind the hips, and just pattering the legs onto the ground, shaking them out. Tilley's decided to join us for the rest of class. So lifting yourself up into a nice tall seat. Legs are straight out in front. You can have them at hips distance or maybe take them a little bit wider. Arms reaching up overhead and exhaling to hinge forward over the legs, letting the head and neck relax. So just finding your fold wherever it's comfortable. Remember, you can always find a soft bend in the knees here. Trying to find comfort in your fold. So knowing there'll be a little bit of a natural round through the spine. Maybe if the knees are very bent though, trying to walk the hip bones back slightly. And just taking a few more breaths in this pose, noticing where you feel active in the body. Another deep breath in. Deep breath out. And slowly inhaling, coming all the way back up. Hands come back behind the hips. Soles of the feet come to the mat. And just tick-tocking the knees left and right. And coming back up to center. Slowly starting to roll all the way down onto your backs. The soles of the feet planted, knees up towards the ceiling. And just finding a few bridge pulses here on our inhale, pressing into the feet, lifting the hips up, and exhaling to lower back down. Inhaling, pressing into the feet, lifting the hips up, exhaling, lowering the hips down. Inhaling, lifting up, exhaling, lowering down. One more like that. Inhaling to lift up, and exhaling to lower back down. Let the hips settle for a moment. Take the feet to the outer edges of your mat and let the knees fall in towards each other. And maybe hugging the knees up into the chest, giving yourself a big hug or a squeeze. Coming into a tight little ball, maybe a little rock, side to side. And letting the arms come out into a big T shape out to the sides. We're going to let the knees fall over towards the right, the gaze coming over towards that left hand. If the knees aren't quite falling towards the ground, you can always take a block and put that underneath of your knees. And seeing if you can soften and settle in. And taking your last 3 to 5 breaths here. And slowly coming back up to center. Maybe you hug the knees into the chest, giving yourself a squeeze or a hug. And letting the shoulders relax back down, the knees this time falling over towards the left as the gaze comes over towards your right hand. And just softening into your twist on the other side. Noticing maybe if this side feels any different than the other. Noticing what comes up in your twist. Breathing into the body. Maybe taking your last 3 to 5 breaths here. And slowly coming back up through center, giving yourself another big hug or a squeeze. Maybe a little rock side to side. Maybe even tuck the chin into the chest, bringing the forehead up towards the knees. And letting the shoulders and head relax, feet come to the mat. And then we'll bring the soles of the feet together, letting the knees fall out wide. One hand maybe to the chest and one to the belly. Just breathing into the body there. Maybe coming back to any intention you may have set for class, whether it be a goal you're working towards, or a positive affirmation, a positive word. Just coming back to the focus for today. Letting the brain wander if it wants to wander. Allowing the breath to deepen and slow. Another breath or two here. When you're ready, drawing the knees up towards each other, giving yourself a hug or a squeeze. Maybe again, drawing the chin to the chest, bringing the forehead up towards the knees into the tightest little ball you can make. Squeezing with all your power and might. And then exhaling to extend the legs out long, the arms down by the sides, coming into your Savasana. Finding whatever props you might need to make this comfortable. And seeing if you can allow the body to soften. For the month of December, I've been focusing on the theme of reflection. So I invite you to reflect. Not on all the hardships or the hard lessons learned or the obstacles or the challenges. No, but to focus on the good. To reflect on all the things you have to be grateful for. To reflect on all the times that you smiled, how many minutes you spent laughing, how many hugs you received, what new memories you made, new friendships, maybe new relationships formed. Reflecting on all that is good. They say if you ever have a near-death experience, the moments that flash before your eyes are not the bad ones you've experienced in your lifetime, but in fact, it is all of the good memories. Every laugh, every smile, every moment of love and peace, those are the moments that flash and flutter beneath, the ones that go quickly like a blur. The idea that our human existence here on Earth is only but just a blip, a blink of the eye. And so not just at the end of the year, but the end of each month, or the end of each week, or at the end of each day. Can you let all the moments of good flash quickly before your eyes? Letting your reflections be filled with the good memories, the positive things in our life, the things we have to be grateful for, the light, the love, the happiness. Just taking a few more breaths, reflecting on the good. And starting to deepen your breath. Maybe even letting out a sigh. Wiggling the fingers, wiggling the toes. Maybe even stretching all the way up overhead, finding a nice long body stretch. And then rolling over to your right or your left side, pausing in your fetal position or your embryo pose. Taking a breath there to thank yourself for showing up to your practice. Taking time out of your day just for you. And when you're ready, pressing yourself up into a comfortable seat. Meet with the hands at heart center, The gaze down at the fingertips, or maybe the eyes just simply closed. Taking a breath there. And then I invite you to send the hands all the way up overhead, opening the pointer, middle, and ring finger, creating our lotus mudra or our Padma mudra, our symbol of openness to the universe, to accept its light, love, and happiness. Taking a deep breath in, absorbing all that good stuff. Closing it between the fingertips and drawing the hands down to your heart center, we bow our heads. The light, love, and happiness in me sees, honors, and appreciates the light, love, and happiness in you. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Peace, peace, peace. May you go in peace. Namaste. Thank you so much for joining me for class today. I hope you enjoyed, and that I will see you again soon on the mat virtually.